Welcome to Beyond the Darkness, the podcast from the EV Effect. Today we will be sharing real stories, honest conversations, and the kind of hope just to give everybody a little light for the day. And I am your host, Michael Dominguez, and we have a special guest today. Lisa Lane is a local musician who has played for our Evie Rocks Tyler Suicide Awareness concert a few times. So she is certainly no stranger to the EV Effect. And with that, I'd like to say, please welcome Lisa.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And thank you for inviting me for all of your things. And I love being able to be a part of it in the community and with y'all.
Thank you so much. We're just so honored to have you.
Thank you.
If you could just maybe share a little bit about your background and your story with our audience.
Okay. Well, my name's Lisa Lane. I have always done music since I was a child. My father was a musician, and that's kind of where this all circles about, you might say. My dad did commit suicide when I was 9, so I didn't get to really do a whole lot of music with him, you might say, but definitely got a lot of inspiration from him and music and life in general and just view on things. And I also got a lot of things from my mom too. But that's kind of where my upbringing came. We started singing when I was very little in church. My dad sang in church. He also sang professionally out of church too. And as I've gotten older, I've met a lot of people who knew him when I was little, and he was a musician around here. So it's really kind of just been so like come around circle about kind of thing. But I'm blessed for that for sure. It's been very eye-opening.
You and I had a conversation at the concert last year, and I believe you had shared at the time that you've even actually had the chance to play with some of your dad's old band members in the past couple of years or so.
Several Johnny Simmons with Johnny and the Nightcrawlers. They've brought me up on stage and I've got to sing with them. There's been a few others and they're like, oh my gosh, you're Mark Taylor's daughter, what? And then people are like, I guess they kind of like will tag me and they'll be like, oh my gosh, look, you have to see, it's Mark Taylor's daughter, so it's just been kind of cute and like reassuring and just a kind of a loving environment in East Texas for music. Some of the same musicians, like my dad, died in 1995, so it's been a long time for someone to remember him that long, and then for him to have that much of an impact on people to remember him still and just be so excited to meet, his daughter. I think that's really cool. So
it probably creates a special connection for you.
For sure. Yeah, very. I always tell Johnny Simmons, like he's kind of like a dad. Anybody that pretty much was a friend of my dad, I just view them as very special because I only had him, in my life for 9 years, and so what I remember is what I had for 9 years of my life, and they remember so much more. So to hear stories and, talk to them about things that he did and just be proud for sure of, of who he was, and not just for him to remember, how it ended. So you love to hear about your loved ones, and you get to know them more through other people, because I was pretty much a baby. My kids are older than 9 now, and so you kind of put it in perspective. This next year, I'll be as old as he was when he died. So when you think about it,
Wow.
yeah, and that's going to be probably like a weird birthday for me, or a
Yeah.
weird year, because you think about like your parents being old, or whatever, and you're like, I'll be 40 years old, and you're like, sometimes you're like, well, no wonder, you know, like life's hard. I mean, you can't lie about that. I mean, it is a struggle, and it makes you understand, why sometimes, I guess, why people do, lose it along the way and get depressed and, just want to end things. I mean, it's been a learning journey since I was probably, since 9, so it's kind of, you
Yeah.
have forgiveness and all that you have to go through and put yourself in their, their
They always
mind. There's
they
a
always
piece of
talk about
you.
the stages of grief. Well,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
denial,
Right.
targeting,
Mad.
acceptance, angry, and they
Yeah.
always make it sound like it's going to go from one to the
Yeah.
other, and it's more like a pendulum. You're swinging through all these emotions at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it's been 30 years and I'm still processing, I think it may have been like, it probably had a lot to do with like the age that I was when it happened, not being able to process things correctly yet, not having that brain development, or, that kind of thing. A lot of things happened in that year. He died, and then like 9 months later, my brother died. So it was just like you want to say a bad word, show. um,
I can
and
say it.
yeah, so I mean, we just lived through it. Of course, like how we talked about, there wasn't a whole lot of I don't know, places to go to talk about things. I think I held a lot inside, didn't want to talk about it. You had to like seem okay to people, because it weirds them out talking about it, like
Yeah.
who wants to, what 9-year-old friend wants to talk about weird things, with their other 9-year-old friend who doesn't, you just really kind of isolate in that way. And I guess you kind of seem weird.
And I think we all grew up. You don't talk about mental health. You don't
Right.
talk about struggling. It's a
Yeah.
sign of weakness. Just
Very
rub some
much.
dirt in it.
Yeah. And that's how I think my dad was. He was a man. You don't really show signs of weakness like that. He did try 2 times before, and he did get some help here in Tyler at Meadow Pines. And I think he did he got prescribed some medication, but I don't think he took it, or didn't take, he stopped taking it, kind of thing. My parents were getting divorced. Just a lot of things were happening that I guess just mentally he couldn't deal with, and I don't think he had the best childhood growing up, I think a lot of pressure was on him for most of his life, and maybe some letdowns throughout his life, and maybe some resentment. So I think he was just very overwhelmed, and I can get that. I mean, I get that way. I think
Yeah.
maybe it was something there to the butterfly effect, or or something like that, to show me what happens when someone commits suicide. It doesn't just stop there.
No.
So it has this effect on so many people, and I don't think mentally he really thought about like my life in the way, he thought maybe a little bit, but the grief and, depression and everything was just like ate him up. And I don't think he could even see into the future by that point.
Yeah.
But, here we are left like, what do you do now? And so like, it's such a weird death, I guess you could say, that you don't ever get closure. So you're always thinking about those last moments or those last months, like over and over and over and over and over again. And what if he was still here? Would he have been better? Would he have been worse? Would he be, trying to commit suicide now as like me as an adult,
Yeah.
I don't know, but at least I think it taught a lot of people, you have to take something from it, you know. It very eye opening, of course, that I mean, you don't want to be the one that's on the other end, of course, but you do have to be open up to, I guess, like mental health and what's going on around you, and like kind of pick up on people's mental health because they're not just going to come out and tell you
No.
usually.
Yeah.
He hid it from everybody that he knew that he was depressed, unless it was like totally um like inside of our family.
Mm-hmm.
So from the outside, whenever it happened, everybody was shocked. They never saw it coming, all these things, because on the outside, he was a comedian. He was fun. He's a musician, all the fun things. And he never showed any of the overwhelmed person, the, speaking out and person, having breakdowns person. But I mean, there you are. There it is, and then in the end, you're like, oh, so.
Do you think seeing just some of those things with your dad are what inspire you to speak out about mental health and speak out about suicide prevention?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think probably since I was a child when it did happen, and it was kind of scary, in a way. And also, I didn't get told a lot of things. And so as I got older, I was told a little bit more. And so it was kind of always reaching, like, learning more about him. Um, and I thought at the time, at that young age, I was like, I'm the only person that stuff happens to. That's really what I'd started thinking, because it was kind of like a snowball effect,
Yeah.
It was like this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. And I was like, why does everything happen to me? I really felt segregated from my friends. I felt like I had to fake being happy, a
Yeah.
lot. And I think a lot of the things that I went through grew me up really quickly, mentally in some ways. And I had to kind of come down and be fun. Don't be, you have to act fun or everybody's going to hate you. But then later on, I became a massage therapist. I've been a massage therapist here for 20 years. And that's helped a lot too. I've gotten to speak with people in like their most private moments. People open up with you and tell you about their lives. And so it was kind of like, oh, you're not the only person that ever went through anything. You're like, oh, back
Yeah.
then we just didn't talk about it because I guess we were all scared.
Yeah.
And so then now as an adult, of course, it's like getting to hear them and try to help them. And, I've had clients that I've sent to y'all,
Yeah.
from talking with them. And I'm like, I'm going to get you some help,
Yeah.
So it has, taught me like, hey, there are things you can do for people that are going through it.
It sounds like almost you talk about the feeling of loneliness and why is this always happening to me? And you truly are breaking that cycle, the stigma, making a difference for people today because you're giving them that hope. You're making them feel connected. And I think that lack of hope and loneliness are probably some of the biggest challenges for somebody that's struggling with mental health.
Right.
And through your job as a massage therapist, you're able to talk individually with people.
Yes.
And something I truly loved when we were talking about how you've been able to channel that with your music too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely with the music. You meet a lot of people think, oh, that person looks so weird, or that, like sometimes I'm in different genres a lot. Sometimes I'm in like metal, or, I'll be in a Christian thing, or I'm just like so in so many different groups. Like, but some of the most like nicest people you will ever meet are in like the metal rock scene. And they look like the scariest, weirdest people. And then they'll come up and talk to you and they'll be like, hi, like, so nice. And you're like, I want to give you a hug. Like, what? So you definitely can't read, a book by its cover for sure. Music does, I guess. It has always been my go-to. It's always been like my secret weapon, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, that I can go back to. I always sang. My dad was a drummer and a singer. I became a drummer in high school. I was first chair snare, and then started playing guitar and piano and singing. But you definitely can relate with them. A lot of people that are super nice are also super depressed. I've learned, so I can be super nice. I can put on the face too, but do I have depression? Yes, But is it also a way for all of us to connect and get that depression maybe out? Music, come together,
Yeah.
like the Evie rocks, all of that. I think that's definitely a realm of, I don't know, positivity. I think with music, you can definitely be led in one way or another, just like any other artistic industry. I think, artists tend to be a little bit depressed or, that kind of thing. Sometimes I typically like to sing sad songs. I don't know why. Maybe it just gets you in your feels or,
It's that creative outlet for you where
yeah.
you can just focus on the music
Yeah.
and it just kind of.
And you'll write something and you're like, wow, that was like the saddest thing that I've ever heard. Like, no, why then you're like, that, scratch that one. Or like when we were doing for the Stevie, or not Stevie, I was listening to Stevie Nicks, but the Evie rocks.
Yes.
And you look at all of the songs that you want to do that's rock and you're like, nope. Not that one today. Not that one today. And you start realizing like, well, maybe your song list is a little bit dark. And you kind of have to watch that because it can make you, I think, snowball too. If you'd ever realize, like, if you listen to songs that are on different frequencies.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
I sometimes have to watch. If I start going down that road, I can easily make myself more depressed.
Yeah. So when you are feeling discouraged or depressed or just having a tough day,
yeah,
what are some of your go-to encouraging pick-me-up kind of songs?
Pick-me-up kind of songs would probably be in the middle, something like Joel and maybe Stevie Nicks, something like that, you know. But I think they're both kind of in the middle, though. You can tell even whenever like Stevie is sounding happy, but her voice is so like mesmerizing and like has the deeper tone. It's always kind of like, but is this happy? So I think I'll go back to like some of it that's inspirational won't sound so happy to someone else, but like say like Gypsy, going back to the Gypsy that I was, that one's kind of like coming back and finding who I am again. Here I am, doing music or whatnot. Don't lose yourself, go back to who you were, you can make any song what you want to. Like some songs that are supposed to be super happy depress me to death. Christmas songs, depressing. Christmas Day, a lot of holidays, depressing. It's weird.
Triggers. Yeah.
It is, because it'll be like, I'll be home for Christmas, and you're like, I don't know. I'm like, turn it off. You're trying to shop, but will you be home for Christmas? Like, this sounds so sad. Turn it off.
Yeah. How many times have you had audience members come up and talk to you after a show about a song that you did that just really helped them or encouraged them?
Almost probably every show. I mostly do covers. I'm supposed to be produced, but then I got sick. It's usually Stevie and Jewel. Somebody will come up and say, Stevie Nicks was my mom's favorite singer, and like
Yeah.
my mom passed and all this stuff. And and they'll come up and request more of Stevie or more of Joel or
Yeah.
whoever, I mean,
So
I do so many different people because I do really long sets. So, but a lot of the times it'll be like, it's usually Stevie or something like that. And they'll have a connection with somebody over her. It's usually a woman, or say like a woman, like say the mom died. I had a guy one time that came up to me at a brewery, and he just was like going obsessed that I was singing songs that his mom loved, so that's really fun.
yeah.
I try to write about stuff that's in your life, and kind of maybe go in the direction of being maybe supportive, I guess, of maybe what's going on around, me, and relate. Then again, it usually goes dark and I have to start over. I don't know why. It turns into like a diary. Maybe it's like getting out, and then you're just like, oh, burn it,
Do you almost feel like maybe sometimes when you're writing some of those dark
Yeah.
songs, or when you're feeling, it's your way to let some of
Yeah.
that grief out, so
Yep.
it's not bottled up, but
Yep.
then you can turn it around,
Yes.
and then, okay, maybe I'm going a little dark here. So
Yeah.
I felt it. I've
Mhm.
allowed myself to feel the grief.
Yep.
So now I'm going to turn it around and do
Yep.
something positive.
And I think that's where like your producer comes in. Like you have to, like, hey, all of my songs keep on going this direction. Like, can you help me? Like, can we turn this? How do we flip this around into the other way? Make this more like, I really like, I don't know if you know the singer Dorothy. She's one of my favorite singers, and like Lizzie Hill.
Yes.
But they sing more like, I think more like powerful, like we're gonna like get this world, they spin it around, I think, where the lyrics are like empowering and powerful. I'm strong,
Yeah.
So I need to, like, whenever I'm writing, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we're strong now, you know? Like, let's get this. So, I mean, I listen to them, but whenever I write, it just turns, very
Yeah.
dark. So, what do you
But
do?
it's your channel. It's
Yeah.
your outlet.
That's why it's always
And
been so hard for me to write, I think. I mean, it's not hard for me to sit down and write something, but is it hard for me to sit down and write something that's like productive?
yeah.
Probably. I mean, it'd probably be like Edgar Allan Poe of like it would probably be like Alice in Chains now,
Oh, yeah.
Down in a Hole. I've seen that song.
In
It's
a nutshell,
probably,
that's
nutshell. I would probably be in that realm a lot, and dark. But I
but
get it. I think that's why I like it, because I feel it. I feel that I do the music that I feel.
yeah.
So,
Well, and it comes full circle when you have the audience coming and saying, "Hey, my mom used to love this song."
yeah,
So you're connecting with the audience and helping them. At the same
definitely.
time, you're able to work through
Yeah.
things,
And
and
just
so
being your authentic self. Some
yeah,
songs, people, a lot of times in East Texas, they want you to stick with country, because this is a country state. I've even been told you have to start with country and then move to a different genre. So you're thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to have to do country. And then you're like, what country songs do I like? I mean, there's a lot that I do like. Um, I don't love doing a lot of what I would call like corny country per se. I don't feel like it's maybe authentic to me. I feel like I'll wear cowboy boots and all that stuff. I'll dress up, wear cowboy hats. That's a part of me too.
yeah.
Now, I did grow up in Texas. We run cattle, all the things, so is it a part of me? Yes. Do I like Shania Twain? Yes.
So
all
you could
those
go
things.
from Metallica to Garth
Yeah.
Brooks.
And that's pretty much whenever I do 3-hour shows, you're probably going to get some of that. And the fun part is where do you put this song in your set list where it's not strange, like country, dark. We're going to stick with dark. And then like, oh, Dixie Chicks. Happy now. It's a lot of pressure.
It is. Yes. I'm thinking back to the very first concert.
Mm.
What were your initial thoughts when you heard about Evie Rocks Tyler? Were you like, what on earth are they doing?
Well, I had a friend that was, who does music in the metal scene. He was a guitar player for Victims of Sanity, and he told me about the gig, right? And if I could do it, that it would be amazing and all the things, and told me about your daughter. And I was like, definitely, yes. Definitely, definitely, definitely. I will be involved in this for probably the rest of my life. So, and whenever I do get my voice back, for sure, y'all can probably tell that it's, I will definitely be back up there.
You have legacy status as far as we're concerned.
Oh, thank you so much. Grandfather me in.
Yes.
Yeah, that was so cool. Actually got to do KLTV, because of that. Yeah, that was really neat. That was just, hey, you're just I'm very small town. Nobody knows who I am. I'm not, what do they say? Locally famous and I don't know, like universally unknown or something like that. Like very unknown, So then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going on KLTV. Like I've been watching KLTV since I was like, I don't know, 1, I'm going to be on the news, So it was very, just lots of little things, in the few years that I really tried to take music seriously and be on stage and do it professionally, just like little things came along that you got to kind of check off on a box, and it was really kind of cool. Like, wow, I didn't think I get to do that. Or I didn't think that place would say yes. Or people, messaging you like to please come sing. And you're like, didn't think that was going to happen. That's cool. And I've been out not singing for 2 years now. Yeah. Did not think that was going to happen. That was definitely not the plan. I was supposed to be probably somewhere else in my mind, on a tour bus, but, definitely got humbled, I think. If you believe in another power, which, you think, well, maybe I was getting a little bit, little conceited or, getting in over my head, that kind of thing. And I needed to come down a little bit and get humbled and, and now, since I hadn't been able to sing and lost my voice, I have like chronic laryngitis, which it's sounding pretty good at the moment. I have better days than others. I'm on like immunity drops for allergies and take a lot of medicine for that. But you really get to appreciate the small things, because that big dream, I felt like, has kind of been taken away. But then there's still other platforms, say like this one, that has come around and kept me going.
Yes.
And people still reaching out to me all the time, and I have to tell them no, because I can't do a whole set. Like I might could do one song, maybe that kind of thing. Or like when I come back, I would just be happy to be able to sing by myself in my house. You get down to that level, like, please just bring my voice back. I'm not used to this, because that was my outlet. And then you're like, when I hear myself sing now, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's not my outlet right now. Something that drives you crazy. I guess it's like with anybody, like athletes or whatever. If you get hurt and you can't play, it's the same thing. And if you spent your whole life doing it and that was your outlet or your fun, now it's like, what do you do now?
If you'll pardon the football analogy, it just what you were just saying. There's the movie All American about Kurt Warner, where he was drafted by the Packers. He showed up and 2 days later was let go, and then he ended up working in a grocery store for a while there, and then he got it back into football through the Arena League, and then he joined the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
And was Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
And they just talked about how, those years and waiting, it was preparing him, developing him for his moment.
Yeah,
And
I can only imagine what he was going through mentally, because
yeah,
mentally for me, it's not been fun.
yeah,
It's been very trying. I'll tell you that. And then you're like, I don't know if I'll ever get it back. I have faith that I won't be like this forever. Like, please don't let me be like this forever. But I do feel like I can relate to him.
yeah,
And if it does come back, I'll be even more humble. And like I said, I'll just be happy to even sing again at home,
yeah,
or even do maybe like some videos for Instagram, or you just at home by yourself. Like, that's how down, like that low, I'll be happy.
it seems like, though, too, you've really been not using your singing voice,
Yeah.
but using your voice for suicide awareness and
Yeah,
prevention.
for
Uh,
sure.
Lisa was volunteered with us for the Tyler American Foundation for Suicide Out of Darkness walk
Hmm.
and shared her story there for all of the runners.
Yeah, that was a
And
crazy day. I'd never been around hardly anyone who, you know, I guess who knew some like people, so that many that had committed suicide. And it
yeah,
was like, oh, I got this. I'm fine. I wasn't feeling that bad that day or anything. And then you walk up and you're like, whoa,
yeah,
and it just hit me. And then, I saw your wife.
yeah,
And she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Mm-mm. No, I wasn't okay," because I'd never been to one, and I'd never been around that many people who shared the same experience.
yeah,
And seeing like pictures of their sons and daughters and people, picking up the beads and showing, what, they were there for, or like pictures on there who they were representing. And we all had the hearts, and we wrote, the
yeah.
names of the people that we were there for and stuck them in the ground. And it was just like, I'll be better prepared, this coming year. But
Yeah,
the last one, I was like, whoa! I didn't know that there would be so many people there.
but it just helps you to realize you're not
You're
alone.
definitely
You
not
think about the
alone.
9-year-old you, where you talked about how you felt alone and how, why
Yeah,
is this happening to me? And
right.
you look around, there's a whole room
Yeah,
full
there's
of
a
people
whole, yeah,
there that have felt the same or similar experiences.
yes,
And
and
you made a difference. Your story helped
yeah,
connect with that audience.
yeah. It's one of those things that you're happy to be a part of and sad to be a part of at the same time.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be there, right?
No.
Nobody wants to be in that position, but are we there for a reason? Yeah. And does it help people? I think so. I was telling somebody the other day, do I want to be known as like, Tyler's like person for suicide? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like maybe mental health, but they're like, how did I get here? But it works, it does, it brings up stuff that you've kind of shoved down too in some ways, but and you don't talk about. But I think it's good too that you are channeling in some of the things that you've really shoved down, you know and maybe it's a part of my healing and everybody else's healing,
Yeah.
like coming together like that and saying, ooh, like, whoa, that was overwhelming, or that really took me down a crazy path today. Like that
Yeah.
was a new one. Just being involved with it, because like I said, like my whole life I kind of just, hey, I was in my head the weirdo kid whose dad committed suicide, you know and just like shove that down. And then it was like, oh, we're talking about this now. Oh. But I mean, it's good. I think it's good. It's come a long way in this many years.
Well, and I can't help but think how your dad must feel seeing you play with some of his old
Yeah.
band members
Yeah.
and being able to connect through there
Yeah.
and seeing you inspire audiences.
Yeah. And I feel like I do feel my dad's presence. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, but I mentally do feel like for some reason that he is up there watching over me a whole lot. I don't know if it's because he can't be here, or you can't really, guess what's going on. I believe he's in heaven. Some people think otherwise of suicide, but I don't. But I'm sure he had to do some explaining or something, but I think God knows what you're going through.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows, it would be him, So, I think about if, I have children, what would I do if my children felt that way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you do? If anything, I would never abandon my children, So
Yeah.
it's like, maybe that's a way. It could be me just like thinking he's up there, but I really do feel like he is, and almost like a guardian angel. I mean, I've gone through some pretty bad things since, and you're kind of like, well, never mind. But I mean, you can't control everything, but I mean, sometimes I remember I was going through some really bad stuff probably 8 years ago or so, and talking to God, but also going to my dad's grave.
Yeah.
And so it was very strange because I had only been to my dad's grave like one or two times. And then whenever I go, and it's in Tyler,
Mm-hmm.
I can't find it half the time because all of them are flat. And so then I'll call a cousin and, where is it? Where's the directions? And then they'll get worried about me, because I'm actually going out there,
Yeah.
I'm okay. I promise. I just need to like do this for some reason, and like try to be like, if there's any way, like if you're up there, help me, help me, tell God, just, I need help right now, So that's all I can say, I guess. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but I choose to believe that he is.
You feel like you feel his presence, and that's what matters because it helps you.
Yeah.
It's something that gives you encouragement, it gives you hope,
Yeah.
and that's all that matters.
Yeah. And I think, I wish he was here this whole time and had the perfect, little life that you think of, with a good dad and all that stuff. And, all the things that I went through, like having children, getting married, those things, all the
Yeah.
things that he missed out on, you just kind of, you can either think about him, and think of how it would be if he were there, and, or just don't. But most of the time, it's just like a thing that's always there. I think like when you lose a parent or a
Yeah.
child, that's my next thing. Like, I mean, I lost my brother and my dad that year. And so I got to see my mom go through losing a child too.
Mm.
And so now I'm just like the biggest freak about something happening to my kids.
Yeah.
Because like there's so many things that I can go through, and I give it to y'all and my mom. Like that is one thing I pray like every day. Do not take my kids, please. Like I could not handle that one.
Do you feel like, though, you said, or you talked about how your dad maybe didn't talk about his feelings, or he
Yeah.
didn't talk about some of the struggles or anxiety?
Yeah.
Do you feel like maybe now you are more proactive in trying to do that with your kids?
Yes.
You're like, I see where that happened. I
Yep.
see what happened with me.
Yep.
And as a parent, I'm going to try to have
Yeah.
those conversations with
Yeah.
my.
And whenever I did do the Evie Rocks concert, I had to, which was a few years ago, the first
Yeah.
one, I had to tell my kids how their grandpa died,
Yeah.
and I don't even think that they knew that people killed themselves. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that, that they did. So I just had to kind of explain, sometimes people, go down a really dark, sad, don't know what to do, feel like they would be better off, not here, or be a burden to other people, that they are here. And that is never the case.
Yeah.
And that's what he thought. And I don't want you guys to ever, 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 if you get sad, you need to tell somebody, and I will always be here to listen
See,
because
love
I
that.
get sad.
Yeah.
Children of suicide are 50% more likely to commit suicide. So, here I am, trying to keep myself together, but also like, please don't get this gene. Like, how am I going to deal when they get depressed, which I'm sure they're going to
But
go through some stuff.
it sounds like you've created the environment where they can talk to you about it,
Oh,
and you
definitely.
can talk to them about your feelings too.
Yeah.
So you've got that communication.
Yeah. My kids are definitely little mama's kids. So we talk on the way to school. We talk on the way back if they want to. Sometimes they're moody, but right now they still talk to mama. But hopefully in the future they'll still talk to me. And I always hear people say, my kids don't do this, they don't come around. I will show up at my kids' door. I don't care how old they are. I will make them hold my hand. I don't care what they say. And you may be my age and I may like rock you like a baby. I don't know. Forcefully.
Love that.
So yeah, they're never getting away from me.
I know you're still working on trying to get your voice back. Do you have any thoughts for?
I did pay a producer right before I got sick. And so he's already been working on about 10 songs. And so whenever I get back, which about 6 months ago, my new allergist said that he wouldn't see any improvement for about a year. So we're probably at the halfway point. So hopefully in the next 6 months or so, I will be back and have a normal voice again and get started on an album.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you on stage again.
Thank you so much.
We do have a gift that we want to give you.
Oh, thank
It is
you.
a journal with Beyond the Darkness.
Thank you
on
so
the cover.
much. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Well, I'm so glad that y'all had me on today and
We're just
heard me
honored.
ramble about my story. So
We're just so grateful and so glad to have you part of the EV Effect family.
well, thank you. I love being in it.
That concludes today's episode of Beyond the Darkness. We hope that today's story encouraged you, gave you some hope, and if you liked it, please share it. We look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Thank you.